You got music?
No.
Can't hear your music, Carla, but now we're live, so it's moot. Your music
You
is
can
moot
sing
and
it
it should
for
be
us now.
muted. Yeah, go ahead and sing it for us,
No,
Carla.
no, I'll play it, baby. I'll play it. Here we
She's
go.
winning.
Hold on.
It's a great way to start the show.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I
I
step
don't
up
know if
in
you
the
can hear that.
building, everybody hands
Oh, we
go
can
up.
hear it.
Can they see that?
So, all right, so that's what's that called? Pattern interrupt. You guys were expecting us to be like, hello and welcome to our show about being civilized people, which obviously, if you know the three of us, we're a little bit off the civilized people path. Let me just start with some notes I took on something I watched earlier. Um, Success is a recognition of who you are and what you're capable of. It's not about the money. I think Carla and Jonathan, my two esteemed guests tonight, are going to be able to expand upon that. And part of the theme of this is, what if I could add another skill that could create more freedom in my life? And that's where the income-producing activities come in. Um, Now I'm going to kind of digress or go off to the side, a little tangent. Um, the average American, they say, watches about 4 hours of TV a night. I did the math. I'm pretty good with the calculator. That comes to 1,460 hours of television in a year. What if you could just take half of that, 2 hours, and apply it to something constructive? And what could you accomplish in 730 hours in a year? Even half of that, even half of that is, what is that? 73, 365 hours, 1 hour a day. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let me bring on my two sales director co-hosts, guests, whatever you want to call them, who are probably going to just take over and just like hit the ground running. It's going to be bad. I'm gonna be the guy who goes and interrupt every few minutes. So let's go, Carla. Take it away. You can start with a rap if you want.
Well, I didn't get to the rap part. The ludicrous part I really love, but that's neither here nor there, and that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're really talking about. Well, first of all, I want to remark, Tracy, and then I'd love to hear what Jonathan has to say. That number, I can't believe that people watch 4 hours of television a day. That is, I'm sorry, I'm going to be just myself and very blunt on this conversation. That is a total waste of time.
And it
No,
starts when they wake up, Carla.
oh my
Morning
gosh.
TV, the Today Show. Hey, what's happier than that? It's all the way around.
I can't I can't watch the news. I mean, I know a lot of people are watching the news. It sucks the life out of me. I mean, seriously. I don't. People are like, hey, in conversation, they'll be talking about that thing, that everybody knows about. And I don't. What were you talking about? And they'll be like, the missile crisis or whatever's going on, right? The flu. I don't know.
Yeah, see,
It sucks the life out of me.
Jonathan hasn't watched the news in so long. He's still talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's insane. That's crazy. No,
We actually can go to Cuba now, John.
Really?
Yeah, they just started doing that recently.
It's funny. I bet you there's not. I'm so sorry, Tracy. Go ahead.
No, it's just making.
I bet you there's not one top performer, leader, that sits around and watches the news. Don and I, the last time I watched the news, I was on the way to Dubai, and the only seat in the BA lounge we could find was opposite a TV. So we happened to notice news then, and both Don and I were cringing. And people will ask me, how is it that you can go without the news, and are you still current, and do you have things to talk about with your friends? And believe me, we have plenty of things to talk about. And if I need to know something, I will find it out. Don and I, for a while, we lived on a little sand spit that jutted out into the ocean off the Pacific coast of Mexico. And there was, if everybody remembers, a couple years ago, I guess there was a giant earthquake in Chile, I believe it was, and there was tsunami warnings all up and down the coast. Here we are in the middle of nowhere, And we got Skypes and phone calls from people in the United States, people in Europe, and people in Mexico saying, hey, get off the spit. So I am so confident that if I need to know something, it will invade somehow it will get into my consciousness. And I know that that's not what we were going to talk about tonight, but what we are going to talk about is a lot of things, but one of the things is what can you really do with that time? It's astonishing to me what people can accomplish if you just took 1 hour a day and studied something. Maybe it's internet marketing, maybe it's French, maybe it's how to be meditation, whatever it is, fill in the blank. You could be an expert compared to everybody else in the world in a very, very short period of time. It does not take very much to become okay or too expert in something. And most of us don't need to become the Tony Robbins speaker of the world, or the greatest winemaker, or the greatest French speaker, or Deepak Chopra. We don't need to become those outliers. What we want to become is excellent at what we do, and it's super easy to do simply by doing a little bit extra, more than what the average person does, which the average person, frankly, unfortunately, does nothing. Right? Is sitting there in front of the TV.
They're not watching us right now, I think.
Probably not.
No, and if they get around to watching the recording later, I think the average person is probably going to have it turn it off by now. So good night, average person.
We're not talking average people tonight, for sure.
I hope not. One thing I was watching, and I'll let the cat out of the bag. What prompted me to talk about this tonight was I spent over 2 hours watching a 39-minute video with Tony Robbins, Frank Kearns, and John Reese, and they were talking about it. The whole premise started out with this: 72% of people who buy an internet marketing system / product or get involved in a business opportunity that's web-based, I guess that's what it was. 72%. Jonathan, what do you think these 72% do that makes them so special?
Well, you mean the 72% that do nothing with it?
Yeah, I didn't even say what they did. Yeah, you just said it right there. They do absolutely zero. They buy the product, they buy the system, they join the business opportunity, and then they have that moment when they're looking into it and typing in their name and entering their credit card and clicking the button and purchasing it. That's the moment. That's all they got. The moment of things are going to change now. And then it's over. So they live for that euphoria.
Well, yeah, it's easy to make a decision. We talk about that a lot, about making it, your next step is to make a decision. Your next step in changing things is to make a decision. That's true. It's kind of easy to make that decision, though. Push that button, maybe even spend some money. But most of the time, we're not buying a magic pill. There's something to do after that. Now, the degree of what to do, that depends on what you bought. But you got to do something with it. And a lot of times that's where I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's where we leave it.
No, and it's the paralysis that once they get it, the paralysis of what to do. And here's the answer of what to do: something, anything. Just get started. Getting started is often the hardest part. I'll admit I have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because I'm in the northwest corner of the house and it's so damn cold. I don't want to lift that electric blanket up. Carla, I think you know what cold is like today, don't you, in Palm Springs? A little bit unusual for where you live. So now this is what Tony Robbins said. He said, what if for the next 8 weeks I create a little ritual? I want to do something to condition my mind to get in state or in the zone, or whatever you want to call it. That's when people are willing to make a commitment and do something and follow through when they're in state. And so if you spend 24 hours a day and you're never in state, well, obviously you're never going to commit to anything more than what you already have to do. Brushing your teeth, making your breakfast, going to your 9 to 5, doing as little work as possible that'll still get you a paycheck, picking up the kids from soccer, going home, eating dinner, starting it all over again. You're not in state ever. Carla, can you maybe address this? And I think a lot of people would like to hear your maybe personal experiences of, you can tell us the bad, you can tell us some of the failure part too, and then getting in the state and what you've discovered about that to get to where you are now. And I'm going to mute myself.
What's interesting, we're talking about this particular, I thought we were going to go in another direction, and I know we will as we move forward in this conversation today, but I just wrote a blog post about this last week, and and I'm big on habits, right? When people get started with me, I'm like, you've got to get in a habit, because that is what has served me, right? Is that I do basically the successful things that a successful person does. I model that person. You can almost always, every single day between 9 and 11 or 12, you find me working my business, and then in the afternoon certainly too. But I've done, for 10 years, I prospected every single day between 10 and noon and 1 and 5 in my business. Now, we don't prospect here, but what is the difference between the person that has, what I explored on my blog post was, what is the difference between the person that says, okay, I'm going to set this intention, and now is the time when people are setting lots of intentions for 2015 or resolutions or whatever you want to call them. What's the difference between a person that does that and succeeds and the person that does that and doesn't succeed? And why do more than 72% of the people that set their resolutions for the next year, more than that, don't make them, right? Same thing is true with the astounding number of 72% of people that buy stuff online to make their lives easier. What is the difference? And what I came up with was that they haven't set a process in place for themselves, right? And then very many times, they've failed so many times before that they don't have the belief and the certainty that they can succeed. And we're going to get there in a second. But in the meantime, so I'll just take myself for example, right? I've had a goal to get healthy. And I've had this goal for a long time. I've started, stopped. I've gotten on the wagon, off the wagon, all the different things that you need to do. Part of my process of getting healthy is I want to develop a solid habit, a meditation practice. I want to eat cleaner. There's certain things. I want to attend my Pilates class. So what I've done over the past few months is I've set in a process that allows me to succeed at that. And what that looks like for me is that I've booked my Pilates classes out for a number of weeks, and if I don't make a Pilates class, they will fine me $25. Now, that's not a ton of money, but it's enough for me to get off my butt and get to the Pilates class that I've booked. So I have a process there, right? I have a process set for myself. I have I've put my meditation things right next to my, where I get started in the morning. My goal is to do that before I even look at my emails, so that I set my state, like you said, Tracy, that I've set my state up for the day in a positive way, built my foundation of how and be able to set my intentions for how the day goes. And of course, we've all heard of this, right? Keep really great healthy things in your refrigerator, because if I don't do that and I'm not planning out my meals, Don will go, hey, you want to have a pizza? And I'll go, yeah. Right? So those are the processes I've set in personally. I've set in place for myself. Am I perfect all the time? No. Is this something a new idea that I'm exploring for myself? Yeah, it's not a new idea, right? We all want to set ourselves up for success, and there's all kinds of really cool habit hacks that I can talk about. One I'll just share with you right now is that, and this is not a new idea, is Sean Achor, who is a wonderful professor at at Harvard University. I don't remember what he calls it, but I'll give you his example. He wanted to learn guitar, so he had to stop watching TV. right? We talked about watching TV. He had to stop watching TV, and he had wanted to learn guitar. He found that every night, he said, yeah, I want to learn my guitar, but he would pick up the remote control and he'd turn on the TV. So what he did is he put his guitar in the middle of the room. He took the batteries, this isn't a remote control, it's a phone, but he took the batteries out of his remote control and put them 20 seconds away, hidden in the bottom of his closet. Right? So it was more of a pain for him to go get the remote control, put the batteries in, and turn the TV on than it was for him to pick up the guitar. Hence, he learned to play the guitar, and he cut down on watching the mindless crap that's on television that is a total waste of time. So what can we do in our lives, right, to set up those processes, not just for now we're at the the beginning of the year, we all want to, what are the top 3 things that people want to do? They want to find true love, they want to make more money, and they want to lose weight, right? Those are the top 3 tied for first place for New Year's resolutions. How can we, as all of us listening to my voice, as successful entrepreneurs, wherever we are on that scale, how can we set ourselves up for success? And I don't think tonight we're not going to talk about how-tos. We're going to talk about how to fine-tune, how to get into that beautiful state where you're in flow in your head, because I know that I've been in and out of flow as an entrepreneur over and over and over again. So the processes that I've set up might be helpful for you, and we'll get to them in a second. I'm going to hand it off to Jonathan Case to share his experiences as well.
Well, I don't know if we said this out loud, but you were laying out the idea of being defined by our rituals. I know that we could talk about the rituals of what we do every morning, every day. We could talk about that forever. I've been singing to some degree as long as I can remember. My family, we grew up doing that, and I really enjoy it. Mostly singing in church and stuff like that. And a lot of years went by, got better and better because we did it all the time. Our family was always singing, and we had this practice, that practice, and then perform in church or whatever, wherever we were singing at. And then along came one individual that just was, in my opinion, is the best voice on the planet. Name's David Phelps, and he sings in the Southern Gospel arena, more of a contemporary modern Southern Gospel that he does. But what's interesting is when I heard him, I thought, I want to be able to do that. So I started researching how, which is another topic that we could spend hours on. How are you going to get to that place that you want to be? Well, first you got to go learn something you don't already know. So I started researching how he did it, and come to find out he was classically trained. And then at the time, I did not care for classical music. Opera is what you may know it by. But what he could do, I wanted to be able to know how to do. And I'll cut the story down a little bit to what we're actually talking about, and that is I found out that what he did, I went to take some lessons for the first time in my life, and I found out that what he did, no, Carla, was it was it's an athletic move with the voice. Something that has to be trained. There's a couple sets of vocal cords. They have to talk to each other and communicate together, and I learned how to do that. But the part that I'm so ADD, I can't do anything very often unless forced to on a regular basis. You had to practice. Bring this note down to this note over and over and over and over and over. And I tell you what, I started doing it, and I got a lot better than I was, and I was really excited about it. But then I just decided that it wasn't worth my time. Or maybe I decided, and this is another thing we're going to talk about tonight, that I wasn't certain I could sound like him. Because if I couldn't do exactly what David Phelps was doing, then it wasn't worth my time to practice. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying. My goal was to hit the notes he could hit with that same clarity and fullness that was what Pavarotti could do and Andrea Bocelli, and they could do it, but the sound that David made, I wanted to be able to do it. So if I could do that, then I'm willing to do what he did to get there. But I wasn't sure that I could do that. So that brings up the point that I wanted to talk about tonight, and I'll hand it back over to Tracy or Carla, whoever's dying to speak on the subject. Certainty. To get where you want to go, you need to be positive you can get there. When we first started this team, this opportunity, I dove in with a certainty that I've not had before, and got results that I've not gotten before. I've gotten results in the home-based business industry and in other things, but not like I did here in the speed and the quantity. And looking back, I was positive where I was going, how I was going to get there, how much money I was going to make or am going to make, and that's what I sold. And whatever WooCar is or isn't, or going to be, we're building the machine that we're building, and home business labs, the tools that we have, with or without those, the certainty for me exists, and so I will get where I need to go because of that. I don't know if I'm being clear. We have an opportunity that we've never had before, and I was selling in the beginning. We've talked about the team energy and who we're connected to, who's coming on board, and all of that still exists, and I'm really, really excited about it. So that's what I have to present to anybody that wants to hear about it. And so the certainty is what absolutely you have to have. And I'm going to toss it back over to Tracy to talk about that. He was taking notes over the same video that we were watching a few minutes ago.
This video, I've never spent 30 minutes watching 2 hours watching a 30-minute video before. I took 5 pages of notes, and so when he's talking about certainty, if anyone's looking for a magic bullet, this is it. Certainty. When you are absolutely certain that if you do particular activities, you will get particular results, right? That's what everybody's looking for. And Tony Robbins broke it down into 4 parts. He had potential, action, results, belief. It's sort of a circle. You start out with potential. You know what your potential is, and it's more or less unlimited. Or you come into it thinking, well, I've never done this before, so I think I've got the potential to make, $5,000 a month or something. I'm just going to throw out a number. And so you take action. If you take action with that in your head, the $5,000 a month, and you are certain of it, then your results are going to reflect that, which is going to, in turn, boost your belief about yourself, which in turn will increase your belief about your potential. So when you're uncertain, and you come in and you say $5,000 a month, right? But I don't know. Your actions are going to reflect that, and your results are going to reflect that, and then your belief is going to reflect that even worse, and it's going to spiral downward instead of spiraling upward. So how do you get that certainty? That's the next thing I kind of want to reach. I kind of want to touch on is how do you, if you don't have the certainty. Now uncertainty is it's common. Everyone's got it all the time. Like something as simple as you pull up to an intersection and the light's turning yellow. Do you have a certainty that you're going to make it through before it turns red? That somebody's going to smash you, or that you should stop and that are you going to get rear-ended, or everything's going to be fine? So we've got these moments of uncertainty all the time, but this is the big one. How do you get the certainty so that potential, action, results, belief spirals upward, and you become one of those big producers, big successes. Carla looks ready to
And I think
jump.
well, I just wanted to give it a quick example because this is really critical to understand because this works 100% of the time. So let's say that you are that you're a kid, that you live in a very, very, very poor neighborhood. There are there's just not anybody that has a white-collar job. Very few people graduate from college or even go to college, graduate from high school. But you're a young kid, girl or boy, doesn't matter, but you see on TV this kid that looks like you that went to college and had like the dream job of your life, right? And you get in this idea, this little 8-year-old kid says, oh man, I see the potential. I could go do that too, right? But this kid is surrounded by a bunch of people that don't support that dream, that don't have any examples or any other people in their neighborhood that have actually maybe gone to, and this is a fictional story, but maybe has ever gone to college or has ever successfully done that. So if you think about this with potential, and I guess I should do this back, this potential, action, results, belief. So that little kid says, oh, I have this little bit of potential in me. I know that I can do that. But that kid is taking some action, but that action's not supported by his neighborhood, people around him. He has no role model. And he gets some results, but again, it's not supported by anything substantial. And then that his belief goes into his results, feed into his belief of whether he can do that or not, and it can be a he or a she, right? So again, then of course he'll take less action over time because the system isn't there to support him through believing, taking action, results. So you think that kid's there are examples, of course, of kids that have broken through that cycle, but that's not a supportive place, right? That kid is definitely, if he doesn't have the belief that he can achieve this and people aren't supporting him around that and there's not a system in place to help him get that education, then his belief, he's going to take fewer actions, he'll get less results, and that gets, of course, it feeds into that downward spiral. But let's take and unfortunately this is just the way of the world. Let's just take a kid like me. I was in a middle class environment. Everybody went to high school. Everybody went to college. I just was very lucky that I ended up in that particular place in my life. I just assumed I would go to college, right? So my belief and my certainty that I would actually graduate from high school, go to college, get results, take some action, get results, fed my upward spiral. So you can see how this works. It works 100% of the time, and all of it is based on your certainty. And I want to particularly talk to those of you that went after sales director in October. Think of what you created. You created that, and all of you, whether you made it to sales director or if you didn't, all of you that have gotten started in there between the beginning of this 4.5 months ago and today, think of everything that you've created and the certainty that you had, if you had it or have now. I haven't wavered a bit, and I'm going to talk about how I've kept my certainty up in a little bit. But think about what you can do if you're certain about your outcome. Because I know. This is a multiple 7-figure income for all of us right here listening to my voice that get busy and do what we need to do. And part of that is cultivating that certainty of what we have our hands on here, these amazing leaders that like Tracy and Jonathan and others that we have here to support us on our team, and all of the wonderful environment that the leadership has created here to cradle us through the beginning of our business and to help us scale a multiple 7-8-figure business here. But it takes work, right? I work every day on pulling those certainty weeds, right? And again, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I work every day at making sure that I'm around people that are successful, people that will feed my state, as Tracy said, people that will enrich me, people that will teach me more, people that will help me move my business forward, and therefore I can turn around to my team and help them move their businesses forward and take the next step. But all of that is part of what Tony Robbins so eloquently drew out on a piece of paper about making sure that I'm feeding every single day, and you should be too, your belief, because your belief will elevate your ability, your idea of what your potential is, which of course means you'll take more action, which means you'll have more results, which means of course you'll be participating on that upward spiral. Back to you.
Hey, I'll take that. I want to speak candidly for just a second. I kind of got off into almost nothingness a second ago because I was kind of dancing around this idea. There are two kinds of people hanging out with us tonight, and I know that because I've looked at who's on here, who clicked, who's watching, who opened the emails, the notifications, and there's a couple of kinds of people. Some of you have just been wide open from day one, and whatever results came with that is not the conversation here. You've been wide open from day one. You saw what we all saw in the opportunity, and you've just been killing it. And then there are those that were wide open until a certain point, and then you kind of maybe disappeared off of the map. And I know you're here tonight, and here's why. I'm going to give you permission to do something tonight. I actually love this time of year. We make, to some degree, we as leaders in the industry will make fun of people that use the turn of the year as a launching pad. And it's only because you don't need a change in date to get somewhere. And we know that. But you know what? You wouldn't be here if you weren't smart enough already to know that. So for me to say that to you, little bit of preaching to the choir, right? You don't need to be told that you can make the same decision anytime during the year that you could make in the next 2 days or 3 days. I don't even know. I don't know where it's like. Is it Monday today? Yeah, and this happens Thursdays, January 1st. But I'm going to give you permission to for those that disappeared and have come back to see what's happening. I'm going to give you permission to just start with a clean slate, because that's the feeling, that's the excitement that happens with January 1st. We're going to make some New Year's resolutions, and we like to laugh about those, but the mind wants to do it. So I want to let you do it. But if you've missed it up to this point, you have to do something differently this year than you did last year, or in 360 some odd days, I'm going to have to give you permission to do this again. Okay? So, we a lot of the what you don't do that we bring up on a hangout is not to beat people up. We want to expose the psychology of the human mind. We like to do the same thing over and over and over. The same thing that you did yesterday is going to get you the same results you got yesterday. And some of this stuff may sound a little bit cliche, but we still have to do it. We have to, I get up every morning and I make my coffee the exact same way. And when I run out of the creamer that I like, I don't drink the coffee that day, and it just ruins my day. I get nothing done, and it's over that one little thing that I changed from yesterday. Now, that was a bad result from a change, but it was a change in result. So we got to do something differently this year than we did last year. And I'm going to rehash a couple of things. We've even said them here. What you have in your lap, you're already in. What you have in your lap is the best opportunity to ever cross your desk. And it's been proven. We're doing something that's never been done before. Now, we're in the beginning of it. So some really cool things happen, and then some, what was that? That kind of thing happens in the beginning, right? But it's no surprise to people who have been in the industry or anybody that's been successful in anything. There are things to overcome, which is almost exciting. Well, not almost. I'm a problem solver. I like to fix things. I like to be the guy, right? When stuff happens around the house, unless I'm just dog tired, Dad, can you come fix? Yes, I can, because I'm the man. I can fix that, right? I like to fix things that come along, and I like to see solutions and such like that. So get very certain about your goals, where you can see them, smell them, know that you're going to get to a certain level, and just assume that. Carla said this a minute ago, and that's a word that I tend to leave out when we're talking about being certain. The assumption that she was going to go to college. Well, yeah, I'm going to go to college. So there's no question of, well, should I even apply? Am I going to get accepted? Or whatever it is that may be the question. Those questions don't come up because there's an assumption. Yes, I'm going to go. Yes, I'm going to make, let's say, $10,000 a month. If you can't wrap your mind around this millionaires club, whether you were going for it or not, if you can't wrap your mind around $100,000 a month, $10,000 a month. That is. I need to be careful here, don't I? We're talking to our own team, right?
Call it doable.
Doable.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we're talking to our own team. I'm not enticing anybody to get in. $10,000 a month, very doable, especially with what you have at your fingertips. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Tracy or Carla, whoever's ready to talk about some of the specific things. Is that where we are?
Yeah, actually, when Carla finished, I was gonna ask a question that Tony Robbins asked, and that is, how do you create certainty when the world isn't handing it to you? And you said about the kid growing up in the troubled neighborhood, and we always hear these success stories. People are always coming out of the hood, or whatever you want to call it, and making it big and succeeding. And conversely, there are always people coming out of upper middle class neighborhoods and going straight to jail. So, how do you create the certainty? And one thing that Tony Robbins said, I almost said Tony Rush. Hi, Tony, in case you're watching. One thing that Tony Robbins said is that, you got to get the results in your head. You got to keep them in your head. And this is a dirty word for some people. You got to make it your obsession. So, Carla, what do you have to say about maybe the obsession word and how to create certainty in a world that is pretty much uncertain?
I actually will be right straightforward with everybody here. I am obsessed with my business. I work all day. As a matter of fact, I worked all day yesterday. I needed to do some things that were extraordinarily boring and get them done. I needed to write some emails, which are not my strong suit. I had to get them done. I'm running a promotion. I had things that I wanted to get done, and I am obsessed. I'm obsessed completely 100% with reaching my financial goals. Why wouldn't I be? And I know that might sound kind of harsh, guys, but golly, and I'll just speak for myself, this is my life. And I only have one that I know of, and I have certain things that I want to achieve in my life, and I'm going to get them. And the best way to get them is what we have our hands on here in front of us. So I don't think it's bad to be obsessed at all. That ends up in what it has resulted in is by many people's standards, an incredible life that Don and I have been able to live. We've been able to live all over the world. We've been able to experience some things that I just don't think that most people even think of. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about I have no problem saying that I'm obsessed with what I do. I bring a tremendous work ethic here, and I'm gonna get, excuse me, I'm just gonna get shit done, right? And that just happens to be my attitude. And I like to work with people that are deadly serious like me. Do I want to have fun and a good time at the same time? You bet, right? It wouldn't be worth it if I was sitting here all day working just like I did in corporate America. But what is important for me, and I heard this for the first time. I've read the book Think and Grow Rich. I think this is from Think and Grow Rich, or it might be from The Science of Getting Rich, that wealthy people do things in a certain way. And I had heard this and heard this and heard this, and I'm like, okay, so tell me the way, right? I wasn't instantly successful. Don and I had to eat beans and macaroni and cheese and hunt for change in the couch for years, right? For a couple of years, we were miserable failures. Thank you, Tracy. So it's the science of getting rich. Wealthy people do things in a certain way. Well, it wasn't until I was at a team event in Nashville for a different company that I heard John Lavinia get in front of the audience, and he said, I looked up the word because I couldn't figure it out either, because if everybody's doing it in a certain way, just tell me the certain way, and I'll do it. What is the secret? Well, the secret was, when he looked up the word certain, it meant that they were convinced, that they knew that they were doing the right thing. It was not that they were doing things in a specific order. It was that they were doing things in a certain way. And for me, that was huge, because then I realized that I could feed this garden that I have in my head, right? I'm not telling anything. I got some echo here. I'm not telling anybody that's listening to my voice anything that you haven't heard before. That our external results are the result of what is going on inside. And probably Tracy and Jonathan, you've probably experienced this. You talk to some of your affiliates, and it's just like, whoa, what are you thinking, right? So that's only because our reaction is only that, because we've spent time feeding, as Tony Robbins said in the video, feeding our brain, making sure that we were surrounding ourselves with input, no TV, no news, or we've been surrounding ourselves with people that are already successful at what we did. I knew because I'm extraordinarily stubborn, right? And I'm obsessed, right? I knew in that first opportunity, even though I couldn't pay my electric bill for 2 years and had to figure out how to pay Peter and Rob Paul and all those other expressions, I had to figure that stuff out. I knew because there were other people that I could look at and see. This 24-year-old kid that brought me into that business was making $100K a month. John Lavinia was making over $100,000 a month. There were other people there. I knew that because there were other people around me, that all I needed to do was, only to the exclusion of anything at all that was going to take away from my belief and my certainty, that was not allowed in my head. And it still isn't, right? And I'll throw this out. I don't go on that Google Plus group, right? That is just a bunch of moaners and whiners and complainers and
poison. Pure poison.
Absolute. It's like putting what is that weed thing? This
Roundup.
weed spray? It's like spraying Roundup into my head, right? There's nothing faster that will dry up and
into the
kill.
Google Plus group?
Personally, if you're on it, just get off of it, right? If you're somebody that is allowing anything, now I realize this, as we've all admitted here, right? This is a startup. Things will go wrong. They will continue to go wrong. We're working with a tech company. We're working very, very fast. We've grown from an idea to 8,000 people, or 9, or whatever it is now. We're going very, very fast. None of that has any impact on what we can do to move our business forward today, right? All of us can feed the good parts and weed out every single day. Just keep cultivating that expectation of our own leadership and our own success. And that's just a garden that has to keep being weeded.
You're creating your own story. You're creating the story that you want, not the story that's been stuck in your head. And that's, you know, why we were talking earlier. Turning off the TV will keep the crap, the weeds out. And sorry, I'll go back to you, but I was just saying, I just had to say it. You're creating your own story every day.
And you know what the result has been? One of the best personal success stories I've ever had. And I mean, great. I had this amazing success story of eating Fritos or whatever we ate for 2 years, and being not able. We weren't able to afford vegetables. I mean, this is from somebody that made $1 million a year in corporate America, and then I went to making nothing for 2 years. So that took a, you know, there's a lot more to that story, but the whole point is that right now we're not that business is gone, right? I am. We're not in that particular arena. We're in an arena where there's not one person listening to our voices here on this leadership team that can't make whatever goal you have, financial goal that you might have. Don and I don't know about you guys, we had some of the best few months ever that we've ever experienced in the industry, and we've had some pretty damn good months before. So this is an opportunity for all of us to decide, just like Jonathan you gave us permission to decide that the past is the past, whatever it is, and hey, I'm going to ditch the past because guess what? I'm creating an even more amazing future for all of us, right? My team, your team, all of us together, we get to create that. And there's nothing out there at all that puts any limit on what we can create except for what is in our head. There's nothing out there. So self-doubt is human. Worry is human. Uncertainty is human. Our past stories that we tell ourselves and believe, it's human. All of these things that have created us as human beings so far, fine, right? We all have those things. But it is a choice to say, okay, that's my garden right now, and I'm going to pluck this, I'm going to change that. I'm going to take a look at what may or may not be true. And if I'm experiencing X and there's another leader in front of me that's experiencing Y, and I don't want X, right? I want Y, then I can change my mind and experience the same thing that leader has. Yes, there's things to learn in between, but here's the cool realization that I came to at one point in my career as an entrepreneur. All I had to do every day was my very best to feed the best things that I possibly could into my brain, the very best that I could to learn the next thing I needed to learn in my business. The best I could do at my income producing activities. If my goal was to put 10 people a day in front of the business, it was 10 people. If it was 5, it was 20. Whatever it was, if I hit all of those things and I did those things that I needed to do on a daily basis, I got to go to bed every night, put my head down on my pillow, and rest like a queen, because I have no control over the outcome. What I do have control over is my brain, my head, my thoughts, my production. The rest of that is the system. And that was the great liberator for me and my own certainty personally, because I knew that if I did those things and just released all of that angst over results and all of that stuff, in comparison to somebody else, I'm on my path. You're on your path. So execute your business every day in a certain way, because I'm here to tell you whatever you want here is on the table. There's plenty of people right in front of us, and this big, beautiful elephant walk we're on, that are already achieving it. So, hell, love you, Christian, but if Christian Henneke can do this, so can we, right? If Tony Rush can do this, so can we. If Dean Manheimer, fill in the blank, right? So can we, and so can you. I'll get off my soapbox.
I have to say I've asked that same question, and you got your answer from John Lavinia on stage. I got mine from Carla Silver on a hangout just recently, as a couple minutes ago. That all wealthy people do things in a certain way. That's I can take that home all by itself. I did like what you said. I wanted to say this while you were talking. That it is it's in our programming to find the negative, or to find what will not work. It doesn't matter what you do. There's a way to figure out how to screw it up. Every time. So, if you desire to figure out how to make it not work, you will be successful. You can do that. I would very much like for that not to happen, because we are all on the same team. We all want to see each other be successful. I brought some people in here specifically because I knew this was that time that they could see something different happen. I know some of you that are watching, I've looked at it, who's on here, who are watching, that have been in several different opportunities. Some I was in, some I was not, that just flopped. I'm not even going to, we're not going to consider why or why not. That's up to you. You can take what we've said in the hangout up to now and decide for yourself why it didn't work. But if not today, in 3 days, you must decide why it will work. Because I'm going to say it again. You've got the best opportunity that will ever cross your desk. You are in right now. You have a choice to make. You can decide how to make it not work, or how to make it work. We have some of the best tools you'll ever have. I have said, and I would never say this again, but we have some of the best tools that you'll ever see coming. And you have some of the best leaders that you will ever work with right now. I know some of you that joined based on a conversation with me, and you said, I'm going to get in this because of you. I want you to be my mentor. Well, here it is. Let's do it, right? I know that all of the other leaders, Tracy, Carla, all the other leaders that you normally see on Hangouts have had the same conversation. People are with them because of them. And that's good, because I know these guys. I know who's driving the ship, who's in charge, and I know what we've got put together, and what we're capable of. So I'm excited about 2015. You have permission to wipe away 2014. We're going to do a brand new, fresh start with intention in a certain way. And with that, I am complete.
Man, I almost don't even want to talk after that. But I just want to add a few things I from my pages and pages of notes. And I'm also going to tell you that the link to the video, I'm going to stick it under a couple of different places where I posted about this hangout, so you can watch the Tony Robbins, Frank Kern, John Reese video. It's amazing. Take notes. Success and failure are both self-fulfilling prophecies. That right there sums it all up. And the other thing that Tony Robbins said, and I think Jonathan said at the beginning, I think he said it, maybe I'm just imagining it, we're defined by our rituals. And these rituals that you're doing right now, that might include 4 to 6 hours of TV a day, nonsense, 300 games of Candy Crush, uh, stuff that's not an income-producing activity, stuff that's mind-numbing. 5 nights a week at the bar might not be so necessary. Maybe cut it down to 2. 2's all right. But you're defined by your rituals. So what do you want 2015 to look like? This is the time when everyone makes these resolutions, and most resolutions are gone after about 3 weeks. Resolutions, 3 weeks is about the time it takes to make something into a habit. And I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. After I came back from San Diego, I realized that I had gained a ton of weight while I was there, because I was there for 3 weeks. And so I started drinking one of these every morning when I got up, the entire thing, in 2 sips, and then not doing anything, not eating anything, not even brushing my teeth for a half hour, not letting anything. I've lost 10 pounds. So it's a habit. It's a habit. It's stuck in my system now, and I'm crushing the water down all the time, all day long. And
I want to go tell my wife that you said I could lose 10 pounds by not brushing my teeth in the morning.
Well, it's just yeah. Well, no, it's just so you don't stimulate your digestive system. It's all about rehydrating, and you brush your teeth 30 minutes after that, Jonathan. I can smell it from here. It's all nothing but stale coffee. So yeah, let me just go back to that. We're defined by our rituals. Pick your rituals wisely. You can reset your rituals, and follow the leader. That was such a great game we played as a kid, and now as an adult it makes way more sense to play follow the leader. Pick your leaders, follow their rituals. Somebody said this on a hangout recently. If a leader tells you that when they get up in the morning, I think it was Constance, and that leader runs around the block 2 times in their underwear and meditates on what they're doing for the day, then you should do that if that's what you want to get. It's a little ridiculous, of course, but what I'm getting at is you've got the opportunity here. You've got the leadership here. You've got 2 sources of training. You've got 3 even. You've got Doobly, you've got WooCar, you've got HBL. There is a lot going on. There's a lot in front of you where you could turn your attention, where you could turn off the TV. And this is something Groucho Marx said. He said, TV has made me smarter. Every time someone turns it on, I go into another room and read a book. So follow Groucho Marx's lead. I'm going to give this to Carla, and she is going to bring this plane in for a landing, and she's going to say goodnight. So I'm saying goodnight right now. Carla?
Hey, Carla, before you land us, I have to say this. Anytime we come away with big idea, right? Oh, I'm going to do that, right? As soon as all right, great hangout, I'm going to shoot. What do I do? That happens, right? It's I'm so excited. What do I do? If you ever find yourself in that place, go to your welcome video. Your team has a welcome video. Now, I'm speaking like I'm on the Wake Up to Success call, like we have to be generic. Go to the HBL site, watch the welcome video, start like a newbie. If you get stuck and don't know what to do, because there's only a couple things that we do in this business. Our job is to introduce people to the business. The tools are there, the videos are there, the autoresponder is there now. It even follows them around the internet. Holy crap, right? If you haven't, I can't even talk about it. It makes me stutter. If you haven't seen it, we have a technology now where you introduce somebody to our business, and if they go, nah, and they go watch TV for 4 hours, when they come back and get back on the internet, your business follows them around the internet. All right, so tangent about what we have at our hands. That's our only job. Get people introduced, all right? And then the rest, the automated system that your fearless leaders have put together takes over, and and reins them in. So go back to your welcome video if you ever get stuck. It's all yours, Carla.
Carla, before you get, I want to just rehash. Feed your mind. You're defined by your rituals. Success and failure, self-fulfilling prophecies. If you want to close on those things.
Happy to. Absolutely happy to. And I will say, here's the really ridiculous thing about me. I am a creature, I'm an obsessive creature of habit, right? So everything, I'm going to just second everything that these guys had talked about this evening, and then I want to finish with this. Guys, everybody on this line here tonight that's watching this video, if you're watching this after in a replay, you have the most amazing opportunity in your hands. You can be certain that you have a whole host of leaders that are willing to help you, that are willing to turn around and give you every single tool that they have. HBL is a perfect example. Home Business Labs is a perfect example. Give you every single tool that they have used to be able to create the kind of results that they've been able to create. It's up to you to choose. You can choose to be certain or uncertain. You can choose to watch TV or not. You can choose to move the needle just a little bit forward. That's all I've ever done, is just move the needle forward a little bit every single day. And the belief and knowledge and certainty that you have a tremendous opportunity in front of you. So with that, on behalf of Tracy and Jonathan tonight, I just want to say, let's go together and make 2015 the best year ever for all of us, because we have the potential today to begin doing that today. And we don't have to wait till Thursday. We can begin today. And are you going to put a mustache on me, Tracy? Anyway, so guys, make it a good one. Thank you so much, Tracy, for inviting me, and on behalf of Jonathan as well tonight. It's been an honor to be here.
Night, guys.